There we go.
Here we go.
There we go. Recording in progress. So, and interestingly, when you do, you said to start with Shift Enter. Is there
Shift
a button
Enter.
to do that, or is there just Shift Enter will just it's going to
the-
start the spotter. Okay.
Exactly. Now notice here that there's just a side remark, right? Notice how the spotter doesn't just appear somewhere, but it goes next on that button. You notice this?
Yeah. You
Yeah.
mean?
So
Oh yeah.
there is a so like this you can basically learn. So we want you to see as much as possible, um, without you necessarily knowing upfront. Okay, let's go for object. We were talking about the syntax and maybe
Yeah.
having difficulties figuring it out.
So I go to object. I've clicked twice on it. It
One is
opens
enough.
object. I have all the package. Okay. So we were
Just
talking.
pick some method. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
But
There's go. Adapt to
this is
flow.
a little too small. Let's
A
pick a
little
larger
too
one.
small. Let's go with, and now that's two. Now it's double link is two. As a sync promise, even worse. Uh, maybe this seems to be. No, it's still too small. Help me there.
No, let's go through
They're,
the pain a
they're
bit.
all so small and easy as take small. So let's go
Okay.
to there.
Okay, let's go and do something then.
This one.
Before we okay, that one is good, but we can also we can take this exercise and go and find an interesting method here in object afterwards.
Okay.
So here we say we have the editor, right? So this is something that you see,
Yes.
but now we want to say, well, maybe I'm not so comfortable with the syntax. For example,
Yep.
especially probably keywords are
Yes.
might be an issue, right? So um, we can go, for example, if you go to do without click on the do. See, there's
On the,
there do without inside the method.
inside the method. So yes. Yes, it's gonna
Now all of a
highlight.
sudden it highlights you the other pieces. So if something, and it can be a variable, it can be something else, or it can be different pieces of a message. If other pieces exist, then you will get a highlight of this and everything else around it.
Yeah,
Now
that's
in this case, it's easy because it's right there, but so
and
that's at least a little bit of a guide. But let's take a little step further.
yes.
So there was this I button that we were talking about there. Okay, and then
Yes.
we were saying, what do we see here on the right? So, and we said, oh, we have to read the interface from top to bottom. And this is because in typical tools, typical experiences, the meaning of a place, for example, if you take a normal uh,
IDE.
development environment, IDE is a lot, but with the large editor, right, the editor is always in the same place, the terminal is always in the same place, there's going to be index on the left and so on. So usually the spatial and the way something looks is associated with the same meaning.
Yes.
But in Glamorous Toolkit, that meaning can change all the time. So you will be having thousands of representations, and they can have completely different kinds of meanings, quite easily. So for example, and this is why if we just look at the contents of for example here, if we just look at the white part, we might infer the right thing in this specific case.
Mm-hmm.
But for example, let's click on meta on the right, so on the meta view.
Yeah,
So the
better.
meta view now gives me the class of the object I am inspecting. So if I
Okay.
now click on
Yes.
one of those methods,
Yes.
now what does that mean? It's also a method, but what does that mean? Right?
So,
It has a completely different meaning than the method that I was seeing in the source view.
okay. Yes. So give me.
So it's
Continue.
right. So what are we looking at here? We are looking at a method inside a class called RG method definition
Yeah.
that happens to represent a link to a method.
Okay.
So
And
it's
it's
very, very
the same
easy
one.
to
Yeah.
go meta steps very, very quickly, right? So if you're not paying attention to the meaning or
Mm-hmm.
to the meaning of the tool that you're exposed to, you might take the wrong conclusion, just like how you may take the wrong conclusion when you go to a website and not look at the URL
Okay.
first, right?
So
So
what
you
you're
can,
saying, and I'm going to try to rephrase it for myself. So what you're
yes,
saying is say, okay, so we've started with object, we went into it, it belongs to a class. In this case, I was able to see at the top lots of things, but also thanks to meta, I was able to see, as we say, the meta. So what we understand being above. And so I
yeah,
went above, and above the object is the class edgy method definition. And again, this is what you do with the Glamorous Toolkit, being seeing it there, I'm able then to go down that route, that path, really, if I
yeah,
wanted to, or go back, or see in another way.
right.
It's quite cool.
Let's go back to our source view first.
Yeah.
Okay, so here, how do we read the interface here? We read top to bottom, as I said. So first we see this is an inspector because it has the gray bar.
Okay.
An inspector over an instance of, it says there, a
Yeah.
RG method definition.
Okay. Yes.
So that's an instance of RG method definition. And right now I'm looking at the view called source.
Yes.
Now,
Okay.
if I if I know what that view does, then I can
Mhm.
go and interpret the contents. If I don't know what the view does,
Yes.
I might still want to investigate what does this mean. So
Yes.
for example, if I right click on the source,
Yes.
then I can say that's what the view does. Of course, I
Uh,
need to learn how to do that.
yes.
And this is why it's so important here for the environment to not just be an environment for the subject that I'm looking at, but the environment itself is a subject that also needs to be investigated, because only if I can understand the meaning of the tool can I draw conclusions from its output.
Okay, yes, I think I'm catching that. That's the bit I still get. You see, I've been years and years, decades of, let's put it this way, the old way, this is the usual cut. And so I'm getting to, I'm starting to understand even just the fact that, for example, the small talk of Faro in this case, as an integrated, or the development environment is part of the language,
Mhm.
still makes me struggles slightly, which is
For
very
sure.
interesting. So yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And is there long code in Faro or Smalltalk? I've never seen, because I've done only examples for now. I've never seen something like 100 lines of code. You have that too, or
We
you
have, we
split
have.
code?
And we're gonna go and find them because this is a
Okay,
nice
cool.
query now. Um, yeah, we normally we tend to split it into tiny pieces,
Yes,
but sometimes
just
there's
big.
gonna be larger ones.
Yes.
Now, our goal here, we had the problem here, so maybe we don't quite understand the meaning of the syntax, right? So we're still
Yep.
very early. We want to understand a bit more, maybe what we're seeing. Are we seeing the right thing or not? So one thing that we could do here is there is something called a syntax explanation. There is a view.
Yes. Here we go. Oh, brilliant. Oh,
So now,
nice.
so this one now is a tool that we can apply on any method, right? So it's a tool that appears as a view when you inspect a reference to this method.
Okay, so let me go back there. So this is a tool, and you use the word tool in an extremely specific way, from what I understand. And it has inspired me even to build the way I'm building the company, or even my new software is maybe not yet in Faro, but it's definitely inspired by you
Sure.
and your writing. And part of that is that you have lots of tools, and the tools will appear when you need them to appear. They're going to be, in this case, views. They're extremely cheap to build. They're extremely easy to build, and you can just adapt and say, oh, I would need something doing that. And you just build something doing that and tell your system, and I still don't know how to say, hey, when this happens, when I open, I want that view to be one of the many available. And I
That's
love
the one,
this one that
right?
effectively goes into, oh yeah, I'd missed, I was just looking at the return true and I was like, where's the false? Now I get it. Easy to see. Oh, brilliant. Yes, sorry.
No.
That's part
So,
of the enthusiasm. Yoo-hoo.
right, let's do a little bit of a detour here. So let's
Yes.
do a shift enter here again.
Let's do a shift enter here again. Yes.
And let's do syntax
Yes.
space. There it is. Smalltalk method syntax on a postcard. Second named page. There's a
There we
named
go.
page. Yeah.
Yes, that
Double
one.
click on that.
Yes. Oh yeah.
This is the default, right? This is the classic example of how do you fit things in, right? And like pretty much people said it's the entire syntax on a postcard. As you can see, there are a few. There's this context, for example, that doesn't appear there. In that particular case, I'm sure we could fit it in there too. But the problem with this method is it doesn't have a meaning.
Yes, it's
So
just to showcase, or better.
yeah, so it's it can be difficult to imagine. Now, originally, right, this method was created on a, was meant for printing,
Yeah.
and so for a printed medium, but then we built an interactive tool to explain the syntax.
Yes.
So now we can take that was printed and made it a little bit more living. But then the really interesting thing is, and if you shift back to the other, if you shift back to the other tab, this here, what you're seeing here, it's exactly the same logic,
Yes.
but now it is made contextual.
Yes.
And its value is completely different because now I can learn in context. Of course, now
Okay.
the only problem here is that in order to get to this, you have to understand what an inspector is and you have to understand what a view is. But the idea is still the same, right? So it's kind of interesting here how even when we have a tiny question or something that we would say, yeah, it's only interesting for the first, I don't know, 10 hours of playing with the environment, it still fits in the same place where we do productive work.
So, so,
That's
so
the
yeah. Okay.
Go
Could
ahead.
we assume that? So, you say the word very, and you can see you say you ask questions, and also it is a massive part of the articles you wrote with Simon. It is about we really ask questions, we make decisions, and decisions is when it's a question is the result of asking questions and having an answer and trying to guess. So do you see every view in this case or every tool as
Yeah,
kind of trying to answer a question,
yeah,
but that question and that provided list of potential, well, okay, so this each view helps you see a different angle of the thing, and I think on your video you have the analogy of seeing the elephant when you're blind, which is
yes,
really cool. But you say, okay, this is the kind of problem I have. So this, but no, as a human, I have a problem and I need to make a decision, but it is
yeah,
based on a piece of code or something. So the system automatically, by default, thanks to all the work you've done, take that piece of code and say, look, there is probably stuff that's going to help you in all these views or in all these tools that we present as views. Maybe if you need more, you'll be able to build more. Fine for you, but as a default, this is a. So you're always seeing it as an exploration, it seems.
yes, but there's no default.
Okay.
So what you're seeing here,
Yes.
these are the tools
Yes.
that we found useful
Yes.
when developing or explaining Glamorous Toolkit.
Yes.
These are engineering tools.
Okay. Yes.
So we needed to explain, here's how the syntax works. So we
Yes.
built a tool to explain how the syntax works. But then we said, oh, once we had originally we literally just built the page, just for the page. And then you hear us, actually, why are we not because if I can now have a tool and I can enter it, I can give it any method. Why did I show it for any method? And then do experiments to see how people understand it if they have this way of learning a syntax. And it turns out that it's very useful.
Yes. This one is the first
But
one.
so what you're seeing here at any given moment in time is simply all these views, the tools, the buttons that you see there, this we call them actions in the object, and there are all sorts of other tools around in the system. But the views are the largest set of contextual tools. All these views, they represent answers to some questions someone had before you.
Yes.
They don't have to be your questions.
Yes.
But so this is why there is one little thing um, to consider here is that it's not about default in this case, right? So normally we're used to, or people are used to tools that make choices for
Yes.
them.
Yes.
So at most, what you can choose is the theme, right? Do
Hmm.
you want it light or dark? But you cannot change the meaning of something on the screen
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The center is code and will only show me code.
because the choice was made for you. So
Yes.
what we're doing here is, on the one hand, you get flexibility, but on the other hand, literally the way you think about tools completely changes. Because before you can use a tool, so given that now a tool is guaranteed only for a specific set of questions, usually a very narrow set of questions. Um, if I have a different question,
Yep.
then I shouldn't be looking at that tool. So if my question here, for example, is not, oh, what's the syntax, but what's the abstract syntax tree here,
Hmm.
um, then this view is not useful at all. But the
Yes.
one next to it, the one tree,
Yes.
probably
Is.
is.
Yes.
And then if I say here, oh, actually, I would really love to see in that tree, right? We can see this is the abstract syntax tree of this particular method, but it would be really interesting to see what is that one matching, right? What is one of those nodes? So what happens if I double click now?
There we go.
Well, I get one of the nodes now. I'm in the node inside the abstract syntax tree. I'm inspecting, in this case, an instance of RB sequence node, and I'm looking at the source code view. And
Hmm.
this now shows where I am, and it highlights with yellow the node.
Yes. Okay.
So now if I scroll on the left,
I go back to the left.
yeah, I just pick another one.
Okay.
Just one click is enough.
Okay. Ah,
Then
yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah.
we
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
see just maybe with the if you go with the key
Sorry. Which one?
with the just up and down,
Ah, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So I have a strange keyboard. Yes.
then you get to see you basically have a browser of the abstract syntax tree now.
Yes. It's really
Now,
cool.
but notice how within just a few clicks, we are now exploring, we're a couple of meta levels in.
Yes. We're going deep dive. Why are they always named the same in this case? It's just
Which ones?
because can discard edit is because I am maybe.
You are looking at the abstract syntax tree of the object can
Ah,
discard
can
edits
discard edit.
method.
Yes. Yes.
You see here, when you see what's the how easy it is to, if you do not understand the notion
Yes.
of the tool, it can very quickly mislead you.
Yes.
And this is why there's an inversion here, which is absolutely not obvious. So before I should always know what is the question that I have in front of me or
Yes.
that I would like to ask. And then for this question, what is an interesting view? And
Yes.
this is when I will be looking at the views that exist because maybe somebody else already had the same question.
Yep. Okay. Yes. And yeah. Okay. One thing is, so we have changed. So for here we have quite a few views. Okay,
Yeah,
including so tree syntax explanation. Why isn't there here, for example, syntax explanation on this one?
because syntax explanation doesn't make sense on on a node of the abstract syntax tree,
Okay, that makes
right?
sense. Yes.
It syntax explanation is a view of the object RG method definition. And then this is you said something at the beginning, right? It's like, oh, somehow the views should pop up in some sort of
Yes.
situations.
Yes.
So um there will be all sorts of ways to say how a tool should appear in a context. What
Mm-hmm.
is a context? What's the mapping between the context and the tool? Now, the simplest way, and especially we are in Smalltalk, and this is an object-oriented system, the
Yes.
simplest way to define context is to say, well, um, a, an object has a class. So if the object's class defines a view, then I could simply show that view when I'm looking at the object. So in other languages, you might have methods like toString, sString, printString, um, and those are exactly views, if you
Yes.
want,
Yes.
except that they are textual. And the problem with them is that you only have one of them.
Okay,
So
yes.
here we want to have many of them. So instead, which also means now that to have many, the inspector no longer can assume a specific structure.
Yes.
So if you look, there is a raw view. You see in both of them, there is a raw,
Yeah.
print, and meta. Now the raw view gives me variables and values. And that's exactly the view that you see in all debuggers anywhere. So you put a
Yes.
breakpoint somewhere, and then you're going to see variables and values.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That's
that's because this tool gives you the structure of the object you're looking at. And this view is applicable to any object in any language
excellent.
you might want to consider. So it's very cool from a tool vendor point of view because it's very, very generic, very general and reusable. But
Yes.
it's exactly because it is generic that it becomes not useful.
At the same time, it is interesting because when you said raw, I was expecting, the raw source code, something like mostly like this, because usually raw is just, hey, this is the code. But in this case, it is something I can really deep dive into, which I found fascinating.
Right. But this is the least interesting view you
Yeah,
have for an
possibly.
object.
Mm-hmm.
So print is another view,
Okay.
right? Which simply does print string.
Yeah, okay. Yes.
And
Yes.
that's a very simple view. And the meta view is another view, which all of these three views, raw, print, and meta, are available on any object because any object has a structure, any
Yes.
object can print itself, any object has a class in Smalltalk.
Yes. And so I can
Right?
go back to the class anyway because everything will have a class or everything will be a
Yes,
class.
exactly.
Nice.
So,
Uh,
so yeah, so this is basically we did now a little parenthesis. Now we still have to say, well, how do we create a view?
yes. Can I close this?
And hmm,
Can I close this one?
yes, we should close.
There we go. And
You can also do Command W
yeah,
to
okay.
close the last pane.
Okay, yes, I can do Command W. Cool. That's the very Mac
Okay,
thing. Yes.
so we can, so here now we started from one problem. I
Yes.
want to make sense of the syntax, and then we can say, oh, there are two ways to look at it. Either I learn it abstractly, like in the Smalltalk method syntax on a postcard, or I could even take the chance and inspect an object, inspect the method object, and in there have a view that explains me the syntax of that method.
So yeah. So we're trying, and again, I reflect quite a lot because it helps me make sure that I understood
This,
correctly. So in this case, what you're saying is, yeah, in some way the old way, when you needed to print, you needed to have that reference with you. In this case, you don't need. There are ways that you can do that exploration, which is going to be context specific, without having to go back to that postcard and say, okay, what that is this. It's there, and it is going to be specific to the piece of code that you're looking at.
yes.
Okay, cool. I got that reasonably right. Cool. Oh, that's a tougher one.
So, but this, I mean, we didn't pick the easiest. We didn't pick the easiest problem to start from, but it's an interesting. I think it's an interesting problem. But we also had another one, right? We said, well, which one is a large enough method,
Yes.
right? That was
How
the
do I?
question
Yes.
that we had before.
Correct. Yes.
So let's try something here. So let's go back to here to the and inspect the method, any method.
Yes. Okay.
And well, here we could now say, well, here I have this object, and
Yes.
I want to now say, well, how did he get the source code over here? And but maybe that's not going to be directly so inspiring because that's going to be a larger widget. But we want to understand how do I go from this object to the
Yes.
string? Because I would like to now see, ideally, I want to go in object and I want to see, give me all the methods. And then from all the methods, I want to select those that have more than, I don't know, 50 lines of code or 10 lines of
Ah,
code.
yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So we should, but now the first problem I have is I have a method and I want to find out, does it have more than 10 lines? How many lines does it have? In order to do that, I need to get the string. Now, how
Yes.
do I do that? Well, for example, let's go here in the meta. We
Yes.
could go here, but yeah.
And
Okay.
search for.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Let's see here, search in the context of
Yeah.
this.
Yes.
Let's see, I don't know, for example, source. Is there something like that?
Yeah. Source code. Source
Right.
pointer. Yes. Source code as
Yeah,
something.
well, that's a setter. And this one here,
Uh,
that's a getter. So we
yeah.
can double click on that.
So okay. Ah, okay. So we're getting. There we go. So it's went
So
in.
now we are now exploring a method, source code method in RG method definition
Yes.
for our method. Okay,
Yes.
good. But now notice here how there are new buttons that appear here.
Oh yeah.
Why?
So yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But why do they appear there?
Inspect. You can run this, I
But
guess.
why can you run? Can you try the one above it
Which
or
one?
the one below it? The one below it, source code.
Okay. Sorry, the one below it.
Doesn't matter. Both are
Yeah,
those are fine.
we don't
We don't
have
have
them
them.
icons. Yes.
What? So what makes it different? Why do these buttons appear here but not here?
Interesting. So yes, you say it's a setter, but yeah, I don't know. Or better, is that because as you say it's a getter and a setter? So this one is setting things, is receiving. This one is doing. But yeah,
In order to execute code,
yes.
can I execute this method alone?
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
No, I
no,
cannot.
because I don't
I
have a
have to
parameter.
provide parameters.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Okay.
this one over here doesn't have. This is a unary method.
Yes.
And the unary method has no parameters. So
So I
the
can.
only thing I need for the unary method to execute is the receiver. So I need an
Yes.
instance of this class.
Yes.
Do I have the instance of this class?
Probably it's gonna generate it on the fly. Or
No,
no.
it's here
Ooh.
because now I'm inspecting indeed the code, but I'm not inspecting the code in a dead file. I'm inspecting the code within the context of an object of that code.
Okay, so that was created automatically so for the inspector to be able to inspect and to do all the reflective things, it created an instance of that thing that allows me to inspect it. Is that
No, it
no?
doesn't create. You created it. When you clicked here, you got an object. So from
Ah,
here,
that's the
you
thing.
got
Okay, yeah.
here. And now here, this editor,
Yes.
this coder here is within the context of this object. So
Yes.
I
Okay. Yeah.
have I have an example, I have an instance of that class. So I don't have to write the program as if I don't
Yes.
have anything.
So I can run
And
this
yeah,
and it's
let's
gonna because
inspect. Yeah, so let's inspect this one.
okay, so what is the difference between okay, this one inspect, so it's gonna run it and then
Show me the resulting object, right? So I
yeah,
have an inspector over a byte string
yeah, so the
showing
result
me
of
the
running
string
this
called
is
this.
byte string.
Yeah,
The string returned is this, which is the code, as we said,
yes,
because that's what we're trying to get to. And as usual, I have access to other views around
right. But
this.
those are not so interesting for the moment.
Yeah,
What we
yeah, no.
wanted is I have a string and that's the one. So let's quickly go from here. Notice how there's a little thing over here at the bottom, a bevel.
Yes. Oh, wow, yes.
Yeah, bring it up. Now that one is it's a knowledge page. So
What's
it's
going on?
it's
Yes.
a playground, if we call it the contextual playground. So now here you have a self. So you can do here self. So this self means this,
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
right?
Yes.
So for example, here, because this is now a string, we can do self lines.
So, okay. So if I don't know that, in theory, if I just give me 1 second, I'm gonna try. So if I just run the self like this, I'll be able then to inspect it eventually.
But it's the same. This one
Does
and
it-
this one, now you get
Do
the
I?
same.
Okay, so I was trying to see, do I get the list of available, as you say, you're sending the message lines.
Yeah. So where is the list of available, I guess you wanted to say
Correct.
methods.
Of methods, yes.
Where are the list of available methods?
So the list of available method in this case, so we are in a string, it's a byte string really.
An instance of the class called bytestring, and
Yes,
where are the list of messages that this object understands?
that's the interesting bit. And that's, is
It's
that, no, so
in
that's,
this
yeah,
is this list exists in the class of the
yes.
object that I'm
Yes.
inspecting.
So it's gonna go, okay, yes. So I would need
And
to
this is
go,
gonna be here.
okay, yes, yes, get it. Sorry for the being slow, but yeah, yeah, I get it.
No.
Yes, yes.
So this is it. So which means that now here,
I
somewhere,
see,
if I now go
line.
here and I search
Yeah, yeah, I can see lines. That's interesting. Yes.
and you do lines,
And it's,
we'll probably, like, for example, that one is another one, the lines. So string is one of the superclass. You can see it here. And
yes.
therefore, we could do that. So now we can either go on that method and say inspect, or I can go and write a query here. And I say, yeah, let's inspect that one.
So let's inspect that one, which is this one. There
Yes.
we go. So that's
So
really,
we have how many lines? We have seven,
yeah,
but we don't
7
care
lines.
the lines at the moment. We
Yeah.
could remove the empty ones and so on, but let's not matter. So we can simply say here lines size.
Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna go. So in small talk, this means that I'm sending to self the message lines. The result of all of this is going to get the message size, and that are
Yes.
gonna return me 7.
Seven.
And it
Great.
recognizes that it's an integer, so I have a different views related to integers, a small integer in this case. Okay, that's cool. Yes, sir.
Okay, now we don't need this anymore, so we can close it.
Yes, Control V, but I'm gonna use my mouse for now.
Great. Good. Now I have this little thing over here, which is nice,
Yes.
but it's combined with this. So it would be interesting if this knowledge would go somewhere here, but I don't know where. So where would it
Mhm.
go?
Okay, so but yeah, so do I need to go into the,
No,
no,
no, wait.
not
So we
this.
don't want, we just want, we are still playing here. So we go here.
Okay, so
We're
I go,
still playing in our little playground.
okay. Yes, so we have another playground
Yeah,
that we open. Okay.
yes. So now here we can say, before we just simply executed the code within within the class with the
Yeah.
meta browser. And now we can do the same thing. We can do self-source code because this is what we executed before.
Yes, so self-source code, and then
And now I can take the same things from here and put it there
yes, so something
because self is the result of self-source code and do this.
like
So
that.
now what happens? I expect to get 7 and I get 7.
Yes, here we go. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, okay. So self-source
So
code. In this
now,
case, the self. The
yeah.
thing is,
So this is how we
self
get the
is this
lines.
one. Yes.
This is how we get the lines of a single method,
Yeah. Give me a second.
right?
So how does he get that self is this method in particular? Is because I've selected it?
No, self. You are every pane here has always a single object underneath it. And
Ah,
here you have this object. So
okay.
self means this.
Yes. So it is an RG method definition, but I'm impressed.
Yes.
Why is it 7? Because 7 was just for source code.
But this is, you're looking at this source code, not
Ah,
at that.
yes,
This is the
because I'm
meta
on source
view.
code here. My bad. Yes, got it. Yes, okay. Hmm.
Make
Oh.
sense?
Not give me a second. If I were to, if I instead of source code, I put recompile, would that give me the line of recompile, or would that?
No,
No, that's the
no.
bit I'm. Oh, sorry,
And
need to
again,
go
right.
there.
Okay.
Yes,
So we picked a rather complicated problem to start from.
yes. You
And
do.
because most interesting, I did, but it's because of your question.
Yeah,
So, uh,
I love it. By the way, I love it. The fact that it's
yes,
complicated forces. interesting discussions, and
Sure.
hey, I have no problem being ignorant.
So, um, the so again, in other environments, you usually stay at the same level of abstraction for a long periods of time.
Yes,
Um, well, here, because everything is an object, so that's an interesting property of Smalltalk.
yes,
It means that I can use the environment to work with a level, or like an object at my level, like my application level, or I can use the environment to talk about the object, about the object, about the object of my
exactly.
at my level. And that's what we are at the moment. And this is why it's so important to anchor it a bit,
Yes, please.
um, to to understand what is it that we're seeing. So our goal was we want to find a method in the class object that has more than, for example, 10 lines of code.
Yes,
In order to do that, we had to say, oh, how do I find out how many lines a single method has?
yes, correct. Yes,
Good. So let's go one step to the left. So if you scroll to the left,
to the left. Huh?
yeah, scroll
You
with
mean to-
the trackpad or
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm trying to. Ah, okay, yeah, okay. So wait, no, I got lost in here. Sorry for that. Where is the when you say the left? So I have the
yeah,
yeah.
you have three
I have
things.
my Zoom. I have my Zoom stuff in here. Zoom bar blocking. That's why. Yes.
That's fine. Okay, so we started from here and then we pressed this button here, the inspect button,
Yes.
and we got this object.
Correct. Yes.
And
So we
it turns out,
created. Yes. Okay.
yeah, it
That's
turns
enough.
out that with this object we can find information about it.
Yes. We can find our source code, and we could see if all the others have source code, for example, which they probably do have. But okay.
So now RG method definition is linked to the compiled method object.
Yeah, it's and I'm getting slightly confused. As you see, I'm here. I see. So object is a class. All good. These are methods. These are methods. So these are function. Okay, yeah. So this is a function. I can go into that one, and it is even that is an object.
Yes,
That's the thing I think was missing for me is that even functions
exactly.
are objects, or even methods are objects.
Everything is an object.
Everything, yeah, but it is yes, and I think
That's
that's part of when I hear lots of things. There are tons of assumptions like this which are done, which you say, yeah, but no, but yes, but that's a
yes,
hard bit of moving. So
yes.
this is an object. So I can. It is both a method if it's run through the class, but it is a method of class. But at the same time, I can deep dive into it, and I can create an object of it, which is an instance of a function, which is effectively running
Of
that
an
function.
instance of RG method definition.
Yeah.
This one, this object here is actually not the thing that actually gets run. That thing is called a compiled method. So if you see here, there's a little triangle here in the source code
Yes.
next to it. Can you click on it?
Yes.
That actually gives you a way to expand that method if it's resolvable. And you can see here it does basically self-compiled method,
Command
eventually
dog.
source code.
Yes.
So it's the same. You can also write it here. Instead of doing self source code, you can do self-compiled method source code.
Okay.
Can you try?
Yes, let me. So I will go with a compiled method with a.
Yeah. You had it. Yeah. You try to execute this one now.
So I'm trying
You
to
can
execute.
do Command G as a way to execute.
Okay. Oh,
That's
I've done.
inspect.
That's done the inspect. You execute is this one, not debug. Okay, this.
No, inspect. Command G is inspect.
Okay. So let me go back to Command G. Here we go.
Okay. But what are we seeing here on the right?
Is the result of all of this is the integer 7, and we're seeing the
No,
meta.
wait. Always say it like this. It's an inspector over an instance of small integer, and
Okay.
I'm looking at a view called meta.
Okay. Okay. So
Can you
it's
try?
an inspect because it is gray on a small integer, and I'm viewing the meta, and it is the result of all.
Right. Is the meta view the interesting thing to look at
No,
here?
probably not. Or in this, we can even.
That
That's
that
the
one
one.
is the interesting one because we wanted to get the 7, right?
Yep.
Okay, now let's go one step to the left here, because now we've learned this one. We notice here how we consolidate it. Every time we find some answer on the right,
Yes.
and
We
then
go
we
back.
consolidate something on the left.
Okay. Interesting.
And we're gonna come back to that. So, okay, now here, this class, now this is not like it's not talking about the source code of object. But this one too has a contextual playground that you can play here with.
Yes. So up this one too as this. So can I see the list of, so I keep,
Methods. Let's try self methods.
so let's see something like this, self and methods. Seems to be happy. If
Yeah.
I just run that way, what is gonna,
Command G.
okay, yeah, you always want the command G. Okay, command G. But command, yeah, okay, command G. And we're still in meta, not interested. I'm more interested in items. And
There it
that
is.
seems to do what I want. At
Double
least it
click on one of those and see what it does. What is that?
okay. So then I can go into,
What is it? What is it?
in this case, or let's say it's in the inspector, it's a compile method, and I'm looking at the source of it.
Right. It's a compiled method, right? So it's not the RG method definition, it's the compiled method.
Okay, yes, I think I get it. Yes,
So now we can go to the left again.
yes,
Because we've learned before that here we can do, this is now an array. So an
yes,
array I can do here select.
yes. And so I can do my select. That's for the array.
Then it's going to be a column because
Yes.
we need to pass an argument. It's going to be a block
So it's going to
that
be a block, and I need to remember how I do my
square bracket.
in my on my strange computer keyboard.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, I'm changing keyboard and I'm
yes, yes.
struggling a lot.
Understood.
Yes.
I can understand.
Yes.
A
So
single one is enough.
yeah, I love this. It seems to be complicated. Anyway, yes, select, and then inside
And
that
then
block,
inside is going to have an argument. So the way you can think about the syntax of a block
is that
is
like
that a block is an anonymous function. It's
yes.
the opposite.
Oh.
So a keyword message
Yes.
has something colon parameter or
Yes.
yeah, and then something colon parameter. An anonymous function will not have the something that doesn't have a name. That's what it is. But I still need to introduce the parameter. So it's
Okay.
colon parameter colon parameter.
Okay,
And
get it.
so
And then
exact.
it's
And
this.
then you have the pipe at the end. And so here now E in this case, but I'd rather use each. This is how we typically write in Smalltalk.
Okay.
So self method select each where each,
Okay, so we're going yeah.
and now each is going to be the same as you wrote before. So you had there each.
Yes.
Each is a compiled method, and we say source code,
Yes. So source code and
and
then
then
say
lines
lines, yes. And so
higher than 10.
directly into this.
Oh, sorry, size. We need line size, and then larger than,
Larger than 10. Why
greater
am I
than.
doing? Yes.
Yeah,
Why?
10.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Command G.
Command G again. So that's the okay. So Command G. Here we go.
Now you have 78 of them.
Oh wow. So yeah. So these are the ones. So what I
Make it
really
make it
like.
make it 50 instead of 10.
Yes, I think that'd be quite cool too. So let's go with 50 and up. Here we go. And we say Command G. I need to learn. So we have one GG connection 4. Let's go. But yeah, so there are many that, oh, well, let's go into GT connection. So if I go twice or click on this one, I can see that, yeah, this one is a long one.
That actually happens to be a view. So
Well, fine.
yeah,
It's just,
it's a or was a view. It's commented out. But
okay.
that's basically now we just did also a query over our source code. But
Yes,
notice a couple of things here. So the interface is a bit different than maybe you're used to, and it has
yes.
this accordion-like metaphor. And the interesting thing with an accordion is that you can make music with it both when you expand and when you collapse,
I like the analogy. Yes,
right? So when you expand here, when you go from left to right, you have a question on the left, and you're
yes.
finding the answer to the right.
Okay.
But as soon as you find the answer to the right,
Yeah.
you shouldn't be satisfied because we still want to consolidate it. And this is what moving from right to left means when we compact the accordion. So we
Okay.
expanded it. We then ended up with 3, 4 of those. But it's very, very interesting to still take the time to collapse it because this is how you ended up with this larger query. We
Yes.
built
So
the
the
query.
okay. Yes. So I
We
moved
built
it
the
from
query inside out.
okay. Yes.
We
So I
didn't
moved
build
from
it left to right, right?
yes. Okay. So yeah, I started understanding how things are, what I can find, what are the things that I'm interested in. I can explore them in real time, understand. Yeah. Okay. So we have this source code. We have those lines. This is getting me the number I need. This is the information I want. Okay, I understand the structure by going deeper and deeper, assuming that it's the same elsewhere, and I can try it out. Eventually, I can go back to my left, which is a high level, and say, now for all of this stuff, I want you to do what I've learned. So I'm learning for one, and then applying for many. In this case,
Right.
in particular.
But if you think about, right, because we said lines, we got to the source code,
Yeah.
we got to the byte string, then we learned lines. Then we
Yes.
said, oh, let's move. And then we said line size. Then
Yeah.
we said, okay, let's move this one to the left. And then we did self source code line size.
Yes.
Then we moved it again to the left and we just increased because
Yeah.
it, in fact, at every step, we had another question.
Yes.
And the question was answered. In our case, until now, we answered the questions just with the things that already existed.
Yep.
We just had to use the views and the tools that were existing to go and find the answer.
And your
But the other piece that is important in model development is that for some questions, we might not have an interesting way to get the answer.
yep.
In which case, we still have to go and build the view.
Yes, okay. But building
That's still
view.
to do.
Okay. Yes, yes. And that makes sense. But at the same time, I like the we go left to right. The accordion is brilliant. So the you'll go left to you used to start with a question. That question stays on the left. And you start taking that question, chopping it into sub questions or smaller questions, and you do those investigations or smaller. You try to find the initial bit of your investigation, and you go and you find that initial bit. You bring it back. You say, okay, I got that initial bit. What's next? And
That's it.
is quite an interesting. It is a really interesting view of programming. I have to say, I need to personally, and I know we're short on time now, but I need to go into that thing of saying, okay, that's really cool, but how do I create a program that does stuff? How does that? Because there is a VM behind, of a virtual machine behind. So how do I build? Because at the moment I'm completely dependent on the UI. Am I always depending on the UI? Because I'm used to have the idea on one side, but the idea is just for coding. The reality is that what is delivered is completely different at the end for running it. And at the moment I'm missing that bit in here, which is interesting.
Well, you're not because you already created a running program. You just were not aware of it because it's in the same place.
Yes,
You every
correct.
time, so if this one would, the things that you have at the bottom, um,
Yes,
it's like being
that,
in a REPL and executing some code.
yes, correct.
But you already created a program. It just so happens that we picked a problem about the tool,
Yes,
not about your specific application level
yes,
focus. That's it. But
uh,
this is also the key. So the inverse is kind of the important part here, which is if we can do the same on the tool and on the application level, it means that we can apply the same environment everywhere
yes.
in the same way. And this is really important because you notice here, even for a simple question like, how do I get the source code?
Mm-hmm.
It took two little onion layers to unpeel to get to the to get to the gist of it, right?
Yes,
And you'll find it very often. You want to really be confident on an answer. You want to go and inspect the tool,
yes. Interesting. Yes. Okay.
right? And then, of course, the goal here would be let's go and apply this one on a application level because that's where the end goal is. But we shouldn't consider tools to be off limit because they are not.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You say we should understand what the tool is seeing, what the tool is doing with the tool. Okay, yes.
Right.
Very deep copy with. That's an interesting name. Interesting. Cool. Well, that was brilliant. I loved it. I still need to, yeah. So I'm on my starting around on one side Faro, so which is the small talk language, and then the Glamorous Toolkit. And I was having fun because there are some trainings which I'm French, and it is so rare that I hear people speaking about IT in French that I say I need to follow that.
Very good.
That was just
So,
fun. Yeah.
well, thank you, and we'll continue
Absolutely, yes. But I will, yes, I'd like to do a little more in my head also to
for
be a
sure.
little clearer so I can understand. I can be, yeah, but I think that ignorance, the fact the way I start is going to be useful for others, hopefully, which are like me, are curious about the topic, but don't exactly know where it starts or how it works. Hey, if you have any doubt, ask Tudor. If you want to have more questions, ask me. I can drop you more questions. But yeah,
Great.
fantastic. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Tudor. That was great.